name's Shawn Jansen. I'm joined by Shawn Lynch, and this is the Shawn and Shawn Show. We're shooting this late on Tuesday night, so hopefully Shawn can get together and get this out as early as possible. We had some technical difficulties last week, but that seems to happen when you have David Snap on.
He brings the wacky, doesn't he? Last year's episode almost didn't air, and then this year it took a little extra half day, but we got it out there, and Coach Snap looked good on camera.
Yeah, but then he goes out, and Pacheco gets the loss on Friday, so he probably won't be coming back. But here's the sights and sounds from last week.
Turn! Let's go, Shawn.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look back at last week's action. Let's start with the game you were at. Pacheco taking on Buhack. This was a really interesting matchup in terms of two of the teams that have had success early on, and they kind of seem to mirror each other a little bit in terms of how they want to pound the ball on the ground and have some really good hard-nosed defense.
Yeah, it was a physical game, a lot of hard hitting. I think what we saw with two teams that are going to go on to the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think these are two playoff teams. Big first drive for Buhack, 13 plays. They just pounded the ball on the ground. What was impressive, Pacheco wasn't giving up the 10 to 15-yard runs that Buhack will spring here and there. But Buhack just consistently got 5-6 yards just to continue and move the chains. And that was kind of what they did all night. And then it didn't help facts for Pacheco that Kalama Kamoku got hurt early on in the game, and with the re-injured his knee, they took him out for precautionary reasons that they wanted to get him checked out. But without him there, that was kind of a big hole in the middle of that defense, and Buhack was able to exploit it, to continue to move the ball on the ground. Pacheco just fumbled the ball 7 times, and talking to David Snap after the game, he said it just came out of nowhere. He said we haven't had that kind of fumbling issues or turnover issues, but they just turned the ball over, I think, 3 times, and Buhack was able to capitalize. Some big plays from Pacheco. Juwan Epperson had a nice long TD run on their first play from scrimmage. Buhack had a nice game out of Andre Sherman, caught an 80-yard touchdown.
Did some projectile vomiting on the field, too.
Yeah, if you looked on Twitter, you can see that Andre Sherman left everything on the field after that play. And a nice game from Nate Durant. Makes the 2 long touchdown passes that they needed. Ran a touchdown in, really kind of a mistake-free game. He didn't cost his team field position, didn't turn the ball over, and put his team in a position to win. Let's go to your game. You were at Merced against Enox. I think Merced's still scoring.
It felt that way at times. It was probably the longest first half I've ever experienced at any game. Just the explosion of touchdowns back to back. I mean, initially it looked like it was going to be a complete track meet as the two teams exchanged touchdowns on the first 2 possessions. But Merced offensively could score at will pretty much against Enox. And then after getting a little gut check call by the defense, Jamar Turner really turns it up for the Merced defense. He gets an interception return for a score, and then on the next possession they go to punt. It's a botched kick or a botched snap. He picks it up and returns the fumble for a touchdown, and Merced never looked back. It was something like 5 touchdowns in 5 minutes. Really impressive display of athleticism, and shows that when they're on, how good Merced can be.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you look at their offense. I mean, they put up over 30 points in every game.
Yeah.
They've gone over 60 points twice. So they can score points. It's just a matter of can that defense. If you turn the ball over against Merced, you're in trouble because you're going to set up that offense with short fields, and they're gonna score anyway.
But I feel like that's the kind of defense Merced's going to have to play moving forward. I don't think they're as physical as last year. I don't think they're as tough as last year. And I mean, to some degree, that was to be expected. They lost a lot of senior leadership on that defensive end. Getting Jermon Cook back was huge. He had a really nice first game back. Had a few tackles for loss. At one point, he made like 4 tackles in a row. So that's certainly going to help them out. But if they're creating turnovers, I don't see how anybody in the rest of the league is going to be able to keep pace with them.
All right. Golden Valley, a tough loss on Friday night. They were kind of seconds away from getting their first win. Stellar Prep throws a touchdown with about 5 or 6 seconds left to beat them 16-13. You got to feel for them because it came so close. They were up 13-0 with about 5 minutes left and just couldn't hold on.
Yeah, I mean, as a coach, all you're asking for is to give yourself a chance to win the game in the fourth quarter, and Golden Valley's kind of consistently done that in some of these games, and unfortunately it's just not gone their way.
Livingston improves to 3-1, a nice win over Mariposa 30-15. Alex Gonzalez has really got them rolling.
Yeah, the Avila brothers getting it done. Eddie and CJ, kind of a nice quarterback running back combo. It's tough to tell exactly how they won the game because both teams were pretty even, but obviously in terms of yardage, but obviously Livingston was a little more effective in the red zone, and good for them, good quality win. Now they're going to open up WAC play, and we'll see what they can do against El Cap this week.
All right, Alex Gonzalez stopped by to chat before they get ready to play El Cap. Here's the interview. All right, we're joined by Alex Gonzalez, the first-year coach out at Livingston High. Congratulations, a 3-1 start. It's got to be pretty nice.
Yeah, it feels good. Our town's excited and we're excited, but we're still hungry for more.
Yeah, you guys start WAC play this week with El Capitan. Talk about how much are the kids enjoying, how much are they fired up to enjoy the success and now turn attention to league?
League's been our main focus. We know we needed the preseason to get better. We're definitely focusing on the upcoming opponent, El Capitan. We've gotten some kinks out of the way. We have a lot more to improve, but we know this is the game that counts. That's going to lead us and get us rolling in the league. So.
Going into the season, we chatted for our preview that we wrote on Livingston High, and you talked about how much you wanted this job ever since 7th grade. Growing up in Livingston, going to Livingston High, how important was it? I mean, you talked about this being your dream job. Why did you want it so much?
I started youth football in 5th grade, and 7th grade came around and I was playing, and I told myself, someday I just want to stick with the sport and play and coach here for a long time, and kind of just hit me, and I'm excited. Livingston's a special place, and just wanted to give back to my community.
Mm-hmm. So has it been everything that you hoped it would be so far?
Yeah, except the gray hairs.
Yeah.
No, but absolutely, it's been everything I wanted, and the kids are awesome, and the players are awesome, and the coaching staff and the town has been great. So,
you guys opened up the season against Hillmar. You jump out to a 7-0 lead, end up losing a tight game, 10-7 there. But instead of being kind of happy that you guys played with Hillmar, a team that had gone 13-1 the year before, you guys were disappointed. You felt like you let one get away.
Yeah, that hit us kind of hard. We're really disappointed. Players have been working hard for it, and we just made one too many mistakes that game, and it was a little confidence booster, but it was more of a disappointment. But coming out against Hillmar on the first week with a great opponent, both teams played good.
Mm-hmm. But you guys took from it that you guys can compete. There was learning stuff that you learned from that game that carried over.
Yeah, absolutely. The work ethic that the players have put in, and showing that we're able to compete, and just eliminating a few mistakes would allow us to get better the next week. So.
You rebound with a big win over Jansen. Then you got LeGrand. It's kind of been a nice rivalry between the two schools. You guys fell behind 19-0 earlier against them. How are you guys able to rebound in that matchup?
We blew a couple coverages there, and first, it's been a great rival with LeGrand. Been watching the games and going to them and seeing similar towns and how they compete. So it was a big game for us. But Danny Menchaca returning the ball for us and putting us back right into the game, cutting the lead down, at a 19-7 score, and then us getting the ball back in the second half. We kind of fixed a few mistakes at halftime, and our offense came out with some energy, and our defense was back at it like they always are.
Let's talk about it. I mean, you look at the WAC standings and some of the point totals. You guys, through 4 games, have scored the most points in the league by 1 point over a couple teams and given up the least. Talk about your offense, because it's not based off of just one guy. You got about 3 guys that are close in yardage and touchdowns, and then you got CJ Havlicek, quarterback, spreading the ball around.
Yeah, CJ's spreading the ball, and he's also rushing the ball. I think he's our top 3 rusher, with his brother Eddie rushing the ball, and Jose Mejia also rushing the ball. We also have slot guys, Danny Menchaca and Servando Ambriz and Anthony Deal, that have good hands, are good in space. And we have our 2 big outside guys, Harmon Singh and Cole Brown, have good hands and know where to find the seams in the open areas. So,
is it nice to have a team that doesn't care who gets the ball, doesn't care who scores a touchdown? They're just worried about putting points on the board.
Oh, it's a coach's dream. It's a coach's dream, and they root for each other, and they just wait for their opportunity to rise, and they succeed.
Talk about the defense. I mean, just averaging, you guys are only giving up 16, 17 points a game. What's been making the defense tick?
Our coaching staff is real excited about our defense. They fly around the ball, and they're hungry, and it's really good strategy where we don't really hit much in practice because we don't have to. We don't have to teach them that, and that helps us to be healthy during the week. And on Friday they come out and just fly, and they learn their positions and so forth. So,
I talked to, for the preview, we talked to a couple of your guys, and they were just hungry. They wanted to get some wins. The 1-9 season left a bad taste in their mouth. They didn't like going out there and getting it handed to them. But, I talked to a lot of teams that are coming off losing seasons, and a lot of people say the same thing. What was different about this group that you saw as far as their hunger and wanting to get better?
Yeah, they're veterans. It was a big junior class last year, and I got all of them back, and I'm glad they came out hungry. Going 1-9, it stuck with them, and it's not a good feeling, and they came out and met our expectations, and they just have been real hungry to win, and getting CJ back too, healthy.
Yeah. Has this drummed up some excitement on campus? Are people getting behind this team with the 3-1 start?
Yeah, we've had great support at our home games and our away games. We're going to get good support this week coming up, and the town's real excited about it.
I understand you guys are even having a rooter bus from Livingston to Merced.
Yeah. Our leadership classes, our Purple Zoo, we're carrying a leadership bus. We're filling the spots, about 50 students to go with us. Yeah.
All right. Well, it sounds like you guys got things going on the right direction. Congratulations on the good start, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this week's action. Clovis North at Merced. You got 2 pretty darn good 2-2 teams, and somebody's unfortunately going to be 2-3 when this is all said and done.
Yeah, you look at Clovis North. They almost knocked off Edison last week. They were leading for most of that game, and Edison was able to get a defensive stop late. Merced's going to have to contend with the future UCLA running back Bolo Olorunfunmi, and I'm going to have to deal with tweeting that out all night on Friday. What I'm impressed with watching Merced, Jabbar Bird, I mean, he was a guy that was kind of their big play back. He would spell Chris Turner Jackson last year. He didn't get a bunch of carries, but he was an explosive player.
He's the home run hitter for sure.
And now that he's the guy, that explosion's still there. I mean, even though he's getting more carries, some of these games have been blowouts, so he's only averaging 12 carries a game. But he's averaging 9.6 yards a carry. He's looked real good early on this year.
No, and the thing I like going into this one for the Buhack rushed for 327 yards in that loss to Clovis North. I think that's something Merced can duplicate. Not only is Bird running well, Gilliam gets in there, he's running the ball well. Tyrone Williams can run the ball at any time. He hasn't had to do it much, but once he gets involved in it, it makes them a much more dynamic offense. And then, we know what they can do in the passing game. They finally got A.J. Stewart going last week. Now it seems like all of Merced's weapons are clicking a little bit. They got to like that going into this one.
Yeah, you look at the weapons. You got Stewart. You got Josh Taylor, who's off to a great start with over 300 yards.
Even when he's not catching balls, he's getting touchdowns,
Yeah.
diving on balls in the end zone.
And you got Nick Camper, who's a nice possession receiver too. This is Merced's chance to. I mean, this is a big game here because it's a big difference going into league 3-2 as opposed to 2-3 if they're able to win a league title and possibly get a home game. So this, you're probably looking at the home field advantage in the first round on the line in this game. Seeing Clovis North, I think losing to Edison, that's going to take a lot out of them. The fact that Buhack played them tough down to the wire. I like Merced at home in this game.
I agree. I think if they limit the big plays at a big O and they can force some turnovers like they showed.
You don't want to say the name?
I was so impressed with you, I'm not even going to bother. There's no topping that. But I think if they can do those things, they're going to come out on top in this one.
All right, Atwater has their homecoming game. They played Patterson tough last week. It was a 7-6 game late in that second half before Patterson kind of pulled away. They're 0-4. They're going to host Sobrato, a team that we don't know much about from the Bay Area. They're from Morgan Hill. They're 1-1. Maybe Atwater gets their first win here?
Maybe. It's homecoming. They're playing a junior-heavy squad, primarily made up of juniors, so it's a relatively inexperienced team.
And what that means is they don't have their stats on Max Prep, so we don't know much about them. So you just look at the roster and kind of guess.
And unfortunately, we don't know anything about the teams that they've played either. I think the key for Atwater here is they need to be more opportunistic. Create some turnovers, give that offense that struggles some short fields, play the position game, and they just got to capitalize when they're in the red zone. We saw Coach Valado Saturday out at the junior soccer circuit, and he just said that basically they've had their chances, but they're not finishing them off, and the other teams have been making them pay for that.
Yeah.
Wild guess here.
I'm
going
Atwater.
We're going Atwater.
Sobrato's not going to watch the show. They're not going to care.
No bulletin board material there.
Gustine against LeGrand. We get Southern League action. They get going on Friday night, and so does the WAC. You got Gustine at 3-0, one of their wins with a forfeit. Coming in against LeGrand, they got their first win with the overbearing Christian on Saturday. LeGrand in the past couple of years has just rolled through the Southern League. I don't know that they're going to just roll through this league this year. I think it's going to be more of a grind.
Yeah, and it looks like there's some pretty solid teams out there. Waterford's done a good job so far. Mariposa's been one of the favorites the whole time. Ripon Christian, I mean, the way they destroyed poor Stone Ridge over the weekend.
And Norris Dem was off to a good start,
right,
too.
So I think it's going to be a very competitive league. I don't know if Gustine's ready to make that jump into that conversation, but they're 3-0 for the first time in over a decade.
I think our only undefeated team.
Yeah, only area undefeated team left. I still don't see them winning this game on the road. They got to go to the Fog, and I think LeGrand got a little rhythm going in last week's victory. Christian Williams finally got loose.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns for Christian Williams. They returned 2 interceptions for touchdowns in the second half. I like LeGrand there. Let's look at the WAC action here real quick. Central Valley and Pacheco. You got Central Valley at 2-1. Pacheco coming off the loss at 2-2. Interesting matchup early on.
Yeah, you guys think about how banged up Pacheco is coming off of that game with Buhack. Like you said, it was a physical affair. They lost a few guys that they just held out from the game for precautionary reasons. This is one they're going to have, especially if they're making a run here at the WAC title. Central Valley is 2-1, but we weren't so impressed with the schedule so far. So I think Pacheco's going to control the ball with their ground game and kind of impose their will on this one.
Yeah, I'm impressed with some of Pacheco's playmakers. I mean, they didn't move Ginda back to running back until the second half after Kamoku got her. All these difficult names that we got to put out just off the top of our head.
I just leave them to you.
Kamoku goes down. They kind of kept Ginda as kind of that H-back for the rest of the first half, and then moved him to running back in the second half, and he ran the ball hard. Smith, one of their running backs, he's pretty impressive out of the backfield. I think he'll get the ball more. So I like Pacheco in that matchup. Los Banos is going to series. Series is 1-3. Los Banos had a big win over Dos Palace in the West Side War. Los Banos could easily be 3-1. They had that tough loss against Davis 2 weeks ago. Series likes to throw the ball around. I like Los Banos here, just more balance on offense.
It's one they got to have, too. Series is not a team you're going to lose to and find yourself pushing for the playoffs. So, despite the fact they're on the road, they got to go get this one.
And then Livingston comes to El Cap. They're bringing about 50 students on the Rooter bus. They're fired up about this Wolves team.
And deservedly so. 3-1, considering how tough a year they had last year. The expectations certainly weren't high coming in. They had a new coaching staff taking over the program, and all they've gone out and done. I mean, they could easily be 4-0. They had pushed Hillmar to the brink in that game, so they got to be riding high. This is one they're going to have to win. They go to 4-1 here. They get half the league wins they need to get, and they're essentially just 2 wins away from the playoffs if they win this one.
Yeah, I think the one issue is, Livingston's kind of struggled against the pass. El Cap loves to pass the ball, but I just think Livingston's got too much on offense here, and El Cap is just giving up over 60 points a game.
Right.
Granted, they played a tough schedule, playing mostly D1 and D2 teams, but I like Livingston here to improve to 4-1.
Yeah, I think they're going to try to control the ball on the ground. Really contrasting styles, I guess, with El Cap wanting to play fast and pass the ball around. They may have some success. Livingston gave up over 300 yards to Mariposa last week through the air, so I'm going to Livingston, though.
All that, talking up El Cap, and he goes Livingston. All right, that's going to do it for our show. Enjoy the games this week, and we will see you, week 5 next week?
Yeah, week 5.
All right.